Okay, so this is the Daf Yomi for June 22nd, 2025. This is actually exactly midnight. But anyway, we're in Avodah Zarah. This is Daf 4. I'm recording this right after Shabbat. And, just turning the phone on right after Shabbat, we learned that Iran was bombed with 6 bunker busters and 30 Tomahawk cruise missiles. And, the first thing that comes to mind is when you do that, you're like 36. It's like one bomb for each of the Lamed Vavniks. Anyway, we have Daf 4. It says, "The wicked will be punished by it, as it is written, for behold, the day comes, it burns as a furnace. And all the proud and all that work wickedness shall be stubble, and the day that comes shall be set ablaze, and the Lord of hosts that it shall leave them neither root nor branch." So Malachi 3:19. This verse is interpreted as follows: "Neither a root shall remain for them in this world, nor will a branch grow for them in the world to come." This teaches that the sun itself will burn and consume the wicked in the future. So watch out. That sounds like that's something that could be, prophecy or premonition of war. Anyway, "And the righteous will be healed by it, as it is written in the next verse. But to you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in its wings." Malachi 3:20. "And moreover, not only will they be healed by it, but they will even be rejuvenated by it, as it is stated in the continuation of that verse, and you shall go forth and leap as calves to the stall." Alternatively, just as in the case of fish of the sea, any fish that is bigger than another swallows the other. So too in the case of people, were it not for the fear of the ruling government, anyone who is bigger than another would swallow the other. And this is, as we learned in the Mishnah in Avot 3:2, that Rabbi Hanina, the deputy Kohen Gadol, says, one should pray for the welfare of the government, as were it not for the fear of the government, every man would swallow his neighbor alive. And I think that also goes for the world community as well, the governments of the world. If there weren't nations out there to stick up and alliances out there to stick up for other nations, one nation would just consume another nation, subjugate it, just like Iran wants to do, But anyway, Rav Hinana Bar Papa raises a contradiction between the following verses. "It is written, the Almighty, whom we have not found out his excellent power," Job 37:23, which indicates that his power has not been seen. "And it is written elsewhere, great is our Lord and mighty in power," Psalms 147 verse 5. And it is also written, "Your right hand, O Lord, glorious in power," Exodus 15 verse 6. And from which it may be inferred that his power is discernible. The Gemara answers, this is not difficult. Here, in the first verse, God's strength is not seen at a time of judgment, where he acts mercifully. Whereas there, in the other verses, they are referring to a time of war, when he wages war against his enemies and his power is seen. Rabbi Chama, son of Rabbi Hanina, raises a contradiction between the following verses. "It is written, fury is not in me," Isaiah 27 verse 4. And it is written, "The Lord is a jealous and furious God," Nahum 1:2. The Gemara answers, this is not difficult. Here, where it states that God has no fury, it is speaking with regard to the Jewish people, whereas there, when it says that God has fury, it is speaking with regard to the nations of the world, like Iran. Okay. Rav Hanana Bar Papa says, in explanation of the verse, "Fury is not in me, would that I were as the briars and thorns in flame, I would with one step burn it all together," Isaiah 27 verse 4. So, fury is not in me, as I have already taken an oath that I will not destroy the Jewish people. Would that I had not taken this oath, since then I would be active as the briars and thorns in flame. I would with one step burn it all together. And this is the same as that which Rabbi Alexandri says, "What is the meaning of that which is written, and it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations?" Zechariah 12 verse 9. "I will seek" from whom? Does God need to seek permission? Rather, the Holy One, blessed be he, says, "I will seek and search in their records if they have merit, and I will redeem them, and if not, I will destroy them." And this is the same as that which Rava says, "What is the meaning of that which is written? Surely none shall put forth his hand to a ruinous heap." neither because of these things shall help come in one's calamity. The Holy One, blessed be He, says to the Jewish people, when I judge the Jewish people, I do not judge them as I judge the nations of the world. When judging the nations of the world, I punish them for all their transgressions together, as it is written, a ruin, a ruin, a ruin will I make it. This also shall be no more. Ezekiel 21:32. Rather, I punish the Jewish people like the pecking and kefid of a hen, which picks up only a tiny amount each time it pecks. Alternatively, even if the Jewish people perform but a few mitzvot before me, like the pecking of the hens that peck in a dunghill, I will combine them to a large reckoning, as it is stated, though they peck, befido, literally perform mitzvot a little at a time, they will be saved. Lahen shua, Job 30:24. Alternatively, in reward for the manner in which they cry out, shua, and pray before me, I will save Moshiach in them. In other words, God punishes Jewish people for each individual infraction, but He does not destroy them entirely in a moment of fury. And this is the same as that which Rabbi Abba says, what is the meaning of that which is written? And though I will redeem them, they have spoken lies against me. Hosea 7:13. I said that I would redeem them through taking away their money in this world so that they should merit the world to come, but they have spoken lies against me by saying that I am angry and uninterested in them. And this is the same as that which Rav Papi says in the name of Rava. What does it mean of that which is written, though I have trained, or yisarti, and strengthened their arms, yet they consider evil against me? Hosea 7:15. The Holy One, blessed be He, says, I said that I would visit them, Ayasreim, with afflictions in this world for their benefit, so that their arms would be strengthened in the world to come. But they consider that which I have done as evil. With regard to the afflictions of the Jewish people, the Gemara relates, Rabbi Abahu would praise Rav Safra to the heretics by saying that he is a great man. Therefore, they remitted Rav Safra's obligation to pay taxes for 13 years, as they relied upon Rabbi Abahu's word and wanted to reward a great man. One day they found Rav Safra and said to him, it is written, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will visit upon you all your iniquities. Amos 3, verse 2. The meaning of this verse is unclear, as why would God punish specifically the Jewish people because He loves them? One who has wrath, Sisea, does he raise it against his beloved? Rav Safra was silent and did not say anything in response to them. They threw a scarf around his neck and tormented him by pulling and denigrating him. Rabbi Abahu came and found them doing this to Rav Safra. Rabbi Abahu said to them, why are you tormenting him? They said to him, and didn't you say to us that he is a great man? But he did not even know how to tell us the explanation of this verse. Rabbi Abahu said to them, you can say that I said this praise of Rav Safra to you only with regard to the oral law and the statements of Tanaim. But did I say to you that he is knowledgeable with regard to the Bible? They said to Rabbi Abahu, what is different about you sages of Eretz Israel, that you know the Bible as well? Rabbi Abahu said to them, we who are situated among you, heretics, and are forced to debate the meaning of verses, we impose upon ourselves this obligation to analyze verses in depth. By contrast, those sages of Babylonia who are not forced to debate you do not analyze the Bible in such depth. The heretic said to Rabbi Abahu, in that case you should tell us the meaning of this verse. Rabbi Abahu said to them, I will relate a parable to you. To what is this matter comparable? It is comparable to a person who lends money to two people, one of whom is his beloved, and the other one is his enemy. In the case of his beloved, he collects the debt from him little by little, whereas in the case of his enemy, he collects the debt from him all at once. So too with regard to the Jewish people, God punishes them for each transgression as it occurs, so that they should not receive one severe punishment on a single occasion. The Gemara continues discussing the manner in which God metes out punishment. Rabbi Abba Bar Kahana says, what is the meaning of that which is written as part of Abraham's prayer to God? When God informed him that he was going to destroy Sodom, that be far, Halila, from you to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked. Genesis 18:25. This is what Avram said before the Holy One, blessed be He, Master of the universe. It is a sacrilege, or a chulin, for you to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked. The Gemara asks, and does God not act in this manner? But isn't it written, and I will cut off from you the righteous and the wicked? Ezekiel 21, verse 8. The Gemara answers, there the verse is referring to a righteous person who is not completely righteous, and he will therefore be destroyed along with the wicked. The Gemara raises a difficulty. But is it true that one who is completely righteous cannot be destroyed along with the wicked? But isn't it written in a prophecy about the destruction of the temple that God says to the destroyers, and begin at my sanctuary? And Rav Yosef, Ezekiel 9, verse 6. And Rav Yosef teaches, do not read the word as mim kudashai, but rather read it as, oh no, I said that wrong. Mim mikdashi, but read it as mim kudashai. Those who sanctify me. He explains, these are people who observe the Torah in its entirety, from the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, Aleph, through its final letter, Tav. These people observed every mitzvah in the Torah, and yet they were destroyed along with the wicked. The Gemara answers the difficulty. Thereto, since they had the power to protest against the wicked and prevent them from sinning, and they did not protest, they are considered as righteous people who are not completely righteous. Rav Papa raises a contradiction between the following verses. It is written, quote, a God that has no indignation every day, Psalms 7, verse 12. And yet the world still exists. And it is written, quote, and who can stand before his indignation? Nahum 1:6. The Gemara answers, this is not difficult. Here, where the verse states that no one can stand before his indignation, it is referring to an individual, whereas there, when it is written that God is indignant every day, it is referring to the community, which can stand the indignation of God due to its cumulative merits. Tanu Rabbanan, the sages taught with regard to the verse, a God that has indignation every day. And how long does his indignation last? It lasts a moment, but how long is a moment? 1 in 53,848 parts of an hour, a very small amount of time. That is a moment. The Gemara adds, and no enmity can precisely determine that moment when God is indignant, except for Balaam the wicked, that is written concerning him, quote, and knows the knowledge of the Most High, Numbers 24, verse 16. Now this should not be understood to mean that Balaam knew the thoughts of God, as is it possible that Balaam did not know the mind of his animal, and yet he did know the mind of the Most High? So no. The Gemara clarifies what is meant by the claim that Balaam did not know the mind of his animal. When the princes of Moab saw that Balaam was riding on his donkey, they said to him, what is the reason that you do not ride upon a horse, which is more fitting for you? And Balaam said to them, I am riding on a donkey because I left my horse in a meadow to graze. Immediately, quote, and the donkey said to Balaam, am not I your donkey? Numbers 22, verse 30. That is the donkey you always use. Balaam said to it, for carrying burdens only, not for riding. The donkey further said to Balaam, upon which you have ridden. Balaam said to it, merely at irregular occurrences. The donkey said to him, all your life long unto this day. Numbers 22, verse 30. The donkey added, and moreover I perform for you riding during the day and marriage during the night. And Gemara explains this is derived from the following comparison. It is written here that Balaam's donkey said, was I ever wont to do so to you? Numbers 22, verse 30. And it is written there with regard to Abishag the Shunammite and King David, and be a companion, shechenet, unto him, and let her lie in your bosom. 1 Kings 1:2. This teaches that the term hiskanti alludes to intercourse. And I think it might have been in Masechet Sanhedrin where we learned that he used his donkey for divination. That was part of his divination practice. So the Gemara returns to the previous question. Rather, what is the meaning of and who knows the knowledge of the Most High? Numbers 24:16. It means that he was able to determine precisely the hour at which the Holy One, blessed be He, is angry. At that moment, Balaam would utter his curse, and through God's anger it would be fulfilled. And this is what the prophet said to the Jewish people. O my people, remember now what Balak, king of Moab, devised, and what Balaam, son of Beor, answered him. From Shittim unto Gilgal, that you may know the righteous acts of the Lord. Micha 6:5. Rabbi Elazar says, in explanation of that verse, the Holy One, blessed be He, said to the Jewish people, my nation, see how many acts of kindness I performed for you, that I did not become angry at you during all those days when Balaam attempted to curse the Jewish people, and he was not able to find a moment of divine anger. As Had I become angry at you, there would not have remained a remnant, a refugee, among the enemies of the Jewish people. Which is euphemism for the Jewish people themselves. Instead, God restrained his anger, and Balaam's curse went unfulfilled. And this is what Balaam said to Balak: "Since God is not becoming angry, I can do nothing. As how shall I curse whom God has not cursed? And how shall I extricate whom God has not extricated?" Numbers 23, verse 8. And this we can see, like, again, the daf corresponding to the situation with Iran. Just think of that same situation where Iran tries to curse Israel multiple times and tries to harm Israel multiple times. They shoot hundreds, maybe, I don't know, maybe by this point over 1,000 rockets in total, probably over 1,000 rockets in total for the last year. And, nothing significant has happened. So continuing. The Gemara further discusses this matter. How long does his indignation last? It lasts a moment. And how long is a moment? Amemar, and some say Ravina, said, it lasts as long as it takes to say the word rega, or moment. The Gemara asks, and from where do we derive that God's anger lasts only a moment? As it is written, his anger is but for a moment, his favor for a lifetime. Psalms 30, verse 6. And if you wish, say instead that it is derived from here. Hide yourself for a brief moment until the anger passes. Isaiah 26, verse 20. Meaning that God's anger passes in a mere moment. The Gemara asks, when is God angry? Abai said, during the first 3 hours of the day, when the crest of the rooster whitens in the sun, as though his life has left the rooster and it suddenly turns white, as it is when God is angry. The Gemara asks, doesn't its crest whiten each and every hour? How can this serve as a sign? The Gemara answers, the difference is that every other hour there remain red streaks in the rooster's crest, whereas at that hour of his anger there are no red streaks in its crest. The Gemara relates, a certain heretic would distress Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi by incessantly challenging him as to the meaning of verses. One day Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi took a rooster and placed it between the legs of the bed upon which he sat, and looked at it. He thought, when that moment of God's anger arrives, I will curse the heretic and be rid of him. When that moment of God's anger arrived, Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi fell asleep and missed the opportunity to curse the heretic. Upon awakening, Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi said, I can conclude from the fact that I fell asleep that it is not proper conduct to do this, to curse people, even if they are wicked, as the verse says, and his tender mercies are over all his works. Psalms 145, verse 9. It is written with regard to the sinners, and moreover, it is inappropriate to cause the punishment of another, as it is written, punishment, even for the righteous, is not good. Proverbs 17:26. Even for a righteous person, it is improper to punish another. An explanation of the cause of God's anger, it is taught in the name of Rabbi Meir. When the kings wake up and place their crowns on their heads and bow down to the sun, the Holy One, blessed be he, immediately grows angry. This is why God's anger occurs during the first 3 hours of the day. Rav Yosef says a person should not recite the additional prayers during the first 3 hours of the day on the first day of Rosh Hashanah if he is praying individually, as since the judgment of the entire world is reckoned, then perhaps the heavenly court will scrutinize his actions and reject them. And that, I believe that's that's the Musaf prayer. So, and the Gemara raises a difficulty. If that is so, the prayer of the community should not be recited at the time as well. The Gemara explains, the prayer of the community is not rejected even at this time due to its many merits. The Gemara asks, if that is so, then shouldn't the morning prayer of the one who is praying individually also not be recited at this time? The Gemara answers, since there is in all places a community that prays the morning prayer at that same time, his prayer is not rejected. By contrast, the additional prayer is recited at different times by different communities, as unlike the morning prayer, it does not have a fixed time, but can be recited at any point during the day. The Gemara raises another difficulty, but didn't you say that during the first 3 hours of the day, the Holy One, blessed be he, sits and engages in Torah study, and he engages in judgment only during the second set of 3 hours? The Gemara answers, reverse the order so that it is stated that he sits in judgment during the first 3 hours of the day. And if you wish, say instead, actually do not reverse the order. Rather, this is the reason that an individual should not recite the Musaf prayer, the additional prayer, during the first 3 hours of the day when God is engaged in Torah study. In the case of the Torah, with regard to which it is written, truth, as it is written, buy the truth and sell it not. Proverbs 23:23. The Holy One, blessed be he, does not act in a manner that is beyond the letter of the law, but with regard to judgment, with regard to which it is not written truth, but it is a process that involves mercy and compromise. The Holy One, blessed be He, can act in a manner that is beyond the letter of the law. The Gemara presents a mnemonic for the ensuing statements of Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi. Today, bear witness, shake the calf, meaning the golden calf. The Gemara returns to an earlier discussion from 3a, first by citing the matter itself. Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi says, "What is the meaning of that which is written, which I command you this day to do them?" Deuteronomy 7:11. This verse teaches that today is the time to do them, that is, perform the mitzvot in this world, but tomorrow in the world to come, Olam Haba, is not the time to do them. Furthermore, today is the time to do them, but today is not the time to receive one's reward, which is given in the world to come. Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi says, all of the mitzvot that the Jews perform in this world will come and bear witness for them in the world to come. As it is stated, let them bring their witnesses, that they may be justified, and let them hear and say, it is truth. Isaiah 43, verse 9. He explains, quote, let them bring their witnesses, that they may be justified. These are referring to the Jews. And let them hear and say, it is truth. These are referring to the nations of the world. And Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi says, all the mitzvot that the Jewish people perform in this world will come and strike the faces of the nations of the world in the world to come. As it is stated, observe therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the eyes of the nations, Deuteronomy 4:6. It is not stated before the nations, rather the verse states, in the eyes of the nations, which taken literally teaches that they will come and strike the faces of the nations of the world in the world to come. Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi says the Jewish people fashioned the golden calf only to give a claim to penitence, as it is stated after the revelation at Sinai, who would give that they had such a heart as this always to fear me and keep all my commandments, that it might be good for them and with their children forever, Deuteronomy 5:25. If the nation was truly at such lofty spiritual state, how could they worship the golden calf? Rather, the sin occurred so that it would be made clear that one can repent for any sin, as even a sin as severe as the golden calf was forgiven. And this is similar to that which Rabbi Yochanan says in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. David was not fit to act as he did in the incident involving Bathsheba, and the Jewish people were not fit to act as they did in that incident of the golden calf. So David was not fit to act as he did in that incident involving Bathsheba. See 2 Samuel chapter 11, as it is written, in my heart is wounded within me, Psalms 109:22. He had vanquished his evil inclination, and therefore it should not have been able to roll over him to that extent. And likewise, the Jewish people were not fit to act as they did in the incident of the golden calf, as it is written, with regard to the Jewish people of that time, who would give that they had such a heart as this always, to fear me and keep my commandments, that it might be good for them and with their children forever, Deuteronomy 5:25. Rather, why do they perform these sins? And that is the end of Daf 4. So thanks for watching, and thanks for all the subscribers. There seems to be a handful more now. Just wanted to mention, if you continue to watch to the end of this video, that most of the content on this channel is divided into playlists. And basically all of it is divided into playlists. So if you find a playlist that you like, there's going to be a lot of videos connected to it. So, all right, thanks for watching.